This is Wildcat Dojo Conversations.
Hi, and welcome to another show. I'm Sensei Michelle.
I'm Sensei Jackie.
And I'm Landon.
And we're all by ourselves today, no guest.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay, so last time we talked, we teased the elements, and today we're going to try to begin discussing the elements. Again, this is just as my mind has kept it, as Master Collegian taught it, and as he and I discussed it over the years. So far, in all the podcasts that we've done, we've tackled the beginning courtesy line that you have when you very first walk in the door in episode 1.
Us.
Which we love.
Yes.
We have a soft spot for episode 1.
We learned how to walk into the door, and we learned how to walk into podcasting as well.
All in an episode 1 episode.
Us.
Then much later, very recently now, we did intermediate character development, where we tackled things like the moral code of our system.
I really like that podcast.
I do too.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, intermediate character development is just a grown-up way of saying that each person is expected to work on their insides as well as their outsides.
Us, I really like that saying, but I've never heard that before, so I'm really happy that I was able to learn that in this episode.
So it's not really a saying.
Us.
I'm just saying it. Maybe we'll turn it into a saying. But that's what a cruddy person is supposed to do. We're supposed to work on our self through and through.
That's correct. I like to think of it as learning and having the fortitude to do what is right when it is the time to do the right thing.
Yeah, that feels grown up to me too, just for the record.
Well, just to say the fortitude thing, when I was in 8th grade, my Spanish teacher always used to say, you all have to have the fortitude spelled G-U-T-S.
Now that's hilarious. Okay, so she spelled guts.
And that is how I knew the word.
Okay, enough on fortitude. I would like to bring up that there are really not clean lines of delineation between the stages of anyone's growth. It just goes on and on. In many podcasts, we've discussed that martial artists throughout history have mentioned the importance of becoming more and more self-disciplined, some say self-controlled, wiser, and patient as skill increases.
That's true. Everyone from Bokuden to Peter Urban has emphasized self-discipline as a path to inner growth.
And we've covered both of them on this podcast.
And so many more to come.
So excited.
I know I'm repeating this as well when I say that Master Collegian did not invent the idea that elements play a role in the development of human sophistication. In previous podcasts, we mentioned examples of historical references to elements guiding human growth and development. Some research says that the Chinese were the first to use water, wood, fire, etc. as they relate to our existence biologically, mentally, emotionally, and of course, our chi line.
Us, if you remember, we read the story of the Shaolin Monastery back on episode 13. You should definitely go and check it out. Peter Urban brings up water, wind, and rock in the philosophy of Buddhi Karma.
And he's from India and brought it to China, so that would put it even further back. So,
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's all very ancient. So we don't have trustworthy archives of exactly who said what first.
That sounds nice.
Like the Code of the Warrior, Master Collegian systemized it. And of course, I use systemized very loosely when I talk about Master Collegian. And if you know him, if you knew him, you know I'm right about that.
Yes, as a part of his genius was his unpredictability. It said that he was a web thinker. So things lacked symmetry. And I'm not sure the word systemize is a perfect fit either, but it will do for him.
Well, it's the system that I was brought up on. So there you go, right?
That's it.
The elements he brought to us are as follows. Water, Mizu in Japanese.
Wind, ku in Japanese.
Fire, ka in Japanese.
And earth, chi. He separated the information into categories like this. Each element has a hard and a soft side. Each element is used in movement. And each element has a use internally that should be summoned and dissolved using our own iron will.
Sensei, do you mind taking a minute to go over what you mean about the word iron will? I don't think that I've ever heard you use that before.
That's actually a good catch, Landon. Thanks.
Thanks, Sensei.
And now you're going to make me say guts, baby, guts. And keep it simple, stupid, and go back into what you just said. It's just an internal strength that makes you, as Jackie so kindly put it, have the fortitude to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Thank you, Sensei, for explaining that to me.
Okay, back to the insanely large subject of the elements. I've decided to start by introducing all 4 elements in their broadest, most well-known, or should I say common form. Want to start me out here, Landon?
Sensei, let's start with water. We already mentioned the Japanese word for water, but we'll say it again because it's a super cool name. It's Mizu.
Its life-giving side, or should we say its soft side, is that we are made of water and literally cannot live without it. According to H. Mitchell in the Journal of Biological Chemistry, the human body is 60% water. The brain and heart are 73% water, lungs 83% water, skin 64%, muscles and kidneys 79%, and the bones 31%. So it's easy to conclude that we need water to live.
Okay, bones being 31%. I was just thinking, yeah, they're so hard. I never would have thought they had moisture.
And who would have thought that skin had 64% water?
Anybody who's ever moisturized.
Bet you've seen a commercial for that.
Oh my God. Okay, just in case you need more proof than that, medical professionals say that the human body can last approximately 3 days without water.
And one more thing, the planet itself is made of a huge percent of water, 71% in fact, of the Earth's surface is covered in water, and the oceans hold about 96% of all the Earth's water. So I wonder where the rest of the 4% of the water goes.
I don't know, but that's an incredible statistic, Landon.
And that is a lot of water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, each element also has what we in our style called life-taking properties. And in this element, there's no lack of evidence. Let's do a quick round robin with things that are water-based that can kill you. Hurricanes?
Tsunamis.
Floods.
Yikes.
But I was also thinking that the absence of water is life-taking as well, with droughts.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
That's a really good point. So water has to be balanced like we try to balance ourselves internally and externally.
Us.
Okay, so it turns out it's a witch with a B to be a human, right?
Yes, it is.
Let me see if I can find another word for that. It's a challenging endeavor to be a martial artist. Do you
Yes.
like that one better?
I like that one.
Much better.
Okay, it says here that was easy. I'm not sure that was easy, but at least we got through water, and now we're on to wind. The Japanese word for wind is ku.
Its soft property is that nice and cool breeze we feel on a brutally hot day. Well, we have all felt it, and unfortunately, it's coming here soon. Wind is cool. See what I did there?
Oh, Landon.
I know that you wanted to spell it cool, K-U-U, like it's spelled in Japanese, but I'm saying to you, it is cool. Man, there's nothing like when you're standing there and you feel that breeze against your skin, is there?
I can't think so, but on another tangent, my mind still has some possible examples of wind. Like, for instance, for centuries, wind has powered windmills.
And wind tunnels are used in indoor skydiving, such as iFly.
Oh, wow. Even though that's just for joy?
Even though it's just for joy.
joyous.
Oh, it's fun.
And for what would be an incredible adventure if we could be there, the wind tunnel of the Hadron Collider.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, back to the dark side, and there is no Star Wars reference intended.
Okay, here we go. Yes, we are round robining again, aren't we?
I guess.
Okay, I'll start with the wind that is associated with a hurricane.
And I'll do tornadoes.
And we cannot forget windstorms on the deserts. So, Sensei, now they see the pattern, and we have 2 more elements left to tackle, fire and earth.
I'll do fire if that's all right.
Sounds like a plan?
The Japanese word for fire is ka. And I'd like to bow to Master Robert Lasorsa, whose karate name is Steadfast Fire.
Wow, it's an awesome name.
He's an awesome man, and he goes right with his name.
He is an awesome man.
I think so.
Fine martial artist. Back to fire, shall we?
Us.
It interests me because although it wasn't invented by man, and you guys agree with that,
Yes.
Us.
It was, however, harnessed by man.
Yes.
Us.
Okay,
Pretty
when was
awesome.
fire invented or harnessed for the first time? They think-ish.
Somewhere around 1.7 million years ago.
Wow.
They have
1.7?
they have
million.
traces of Homo erectus, man, having ash near where he was buried.
Wow. I mean, I knew it was a long time ago, but I didn't know almost 2 million years.
Yes.
I'm trying to, in my head, wrap my head around 2 million years.
I'm thinking of what 2 million years is, and that's crazy to think about.
This is when we need a scientist to hang with us
us.
so they could bring us up to speed on the timeline of human development.
That would be great.
Okay, the harnessing of fire led to its life-affirming properties, which include warmth in the winter, and just like that cool breeze in summer, there's nothing better.
Nothing better.
And of course, cooking.
Yummy! And I have a fun fact about fire. Did you know that fire is a chemical reaction that releases light and heat? Who knew that it was a chemical reaction?
I did not. I bet our science listeners knew.
Us. And fire is an event or occurrence, not a thing.
Oh, now I like that one.
That's cool.
Yeah. So back to fire as one of the elements within the system of being both a life-giving and a life-taking property. When we were going over the notes for this podcast before we started recording, I saw that in my original script, I didn't write anything about the life-taking properties of fire. And when I got to thinking about it, I realized that it probably happened because A, it's pretty easy for all of us to understand. Fire kills.
Yes.
And B, it's horrifyingly sad to think about and discuss. So probably when I was writing out the original script, I said to myself, I'm making the vampire sign here. Back away, Missy, back away. Probably what happened, right? I mean, I can't get a joke out of that, can I?
No.
No, because it doesn't take much imagination to see the horrors of fire.
Okay, on that conversation stopper, let's move on to Earth. When I was taught by Master Collegian, he would say the Japanese word was chi, a word we use a lot in karate. So just to be efficient, I Googled it. And I was told that the Japanese word for Earth is chiku. And that's the way she said it when I Googled it.
She told you?
It was an audio. She said KYU, ku, was the end of the word, and she said it with a really strong accent and lilted her voice up. Chiku. Although in this podcast, we're going to continue to use the word chi as we continue to go on the earth here. Nevertheless, I am vexed by all this, and I am in desperate need of a person with mad Japanese skills. So if you're out there, help. And this is a perfect segue, Landon, for us to tell them how to get in touch. You go first.
Us. You can find us on Facebook at Wildcat Dojo.
Okay, Jack.
You can email us and talk to us by email at dojoconversations@aol.com.
And we totally wish you'd visit our website, wildcatdojo.com, and on the left-hand tabs, click on Dojo Conversations. Or you can leave us a text or a voice at 954-350-1915. And on that, we're going to move on to the life-affirming side of Earth. Correct?
Us. Okay. The life-giving side of Earth is gravity. Think about it. Without it, we're flying away. Gravity is the marvel that keeps the planets in their orbit, and its gravitational pull with the sun and the moon causes Earth's high and low tides. Thank you to Miss Blues, my now former 6th grade science teacher, for teaching me this really interesting information. I'll have more information for you when I start 7th grade, so stay tuned and subscribe.
So they couldn't possibly have missed that gravity was the whole pull there.
Just holds it all together.
If we didn't entertain you enough with gravity, let's talk about the softer side of the chi, or Earth.
As Sensei, the softness of the Earth is found in the fact that it sits in space just like an ultimate magic trick with no wires holding it. And it stays its course like a trusted companion. This has been widely studied and explained lately by stable orbit. But still, when you see a picture called the Blue Marble that was taken in 1972 from space, it is awe-inspiring. I looked at it again yesterday and could not take my eyes off it.
It is. That is the best description, awe-inspiring. You just
Us.
look at it and you think, that's us.
I looked at it yesterday and I was
That's us there.
that's cool.
It's so inspiring that a person like me might take it upon themselves to be the very best person that I could ever aspire to be. Ew, little ookie right there,
Yeah.
but
Ew, we got a little too soft there, didn't we? But I agree. Anything that inspires, I love. Correct?
Us.
All right. My addition to this chi discussion is that it is my favorite. I think that it is my favorite because I have a real affinity for it. The iron will that is inside of us, and how with practice, repetition, yes, I know that was redundant, and patience, which is also a function of chi, the chi inside of each one of us can allow for major life changes, which is kind of what you were just saying, the
I
person
think
you
so.
aspire to be.
Us.
Should I say how many people think and say that people can't and don't change? A lot of people say that, don't they?
yes, they do.
But if you tap your own chi, which is done with deep breathing and meditation, and we've been over this many times in this podcast,
Yes.
Us.
and by also taking risks is another really good way to build your own chi. And I'm not talking crazy risks. I don't want you to never having dove off of a cliff before all of a sudden do it, or with no guide go 100 feet under the water or 2,000 feet up a mountain. So within reason, take risks. Maybe it's calling somebody that you were nervous to call, or maybe it's going to a dojo for the first time, which we've all done.
Oh, yes.
It's a good one.
So by doing those things, by bringing your breathing down into your chi pocket and teaching yourself to take risks, that strengthens your chi, and that will allow you to change, and change substantially in ways that you did not necessarily think you were capable of.
Us.
Okay, on that note, let's start to close this thing out. And I use the word start to close this thing out because every time when I'm listening to us record and I'm editing, I say, let's start to close this thing out. And 10 minutes later, we're still talking. So I found a sheet that I typed in 2012 with some information that Master Collegian shared with me. And I suspect a dojo full of people, don't you?
Us and that.
And here's what he said. Chi works muscle strength. Water or flow works stretching. Fire works aerobics. And wind, which is intellect, works meditation. Now, we didn't even touch on the external and the internal parts of the chi. So this is another little tease for them, isn't it?
I sure hope so.
That was really cool what Master Collegian said.
If that doesn't keep them listening, maybe this one will.
Joseph Campbell, a literary professor who lived in the 1900s, 1904 to 1987, said the goal of life is to make your heartbeat match the beat of the universe, to match your nature with nature. Just making you think a little bit here.
That does make me think, though. It feels very indigenous people
Very.
for him to say your heartbeat matching the heartbeat of the universe. Something that people probably don't think about so much anymore, but that is a good way to think of it.
And it's a good way to get your chi in tune with the universe.
Us. That's somebody that really understood the world and really understood people.
Yeah. And that makes me think of one of the things that you brought up when we were doing one of the philosophers, I think it was Funakoshi, who said, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. And so that's kind of the same thing,
Us.
And be aware, something we're saying every time.
In Master Collegian's later years, he wrote a book called The Book of Set, capital S period, capital E period, capital T period. And in it, he tries to give readers a look into his own viewpoint on the elements and the powers and integrating all of it. Sensei Tracy is right now in the middle of working on getting that book up on an ebook.
Us and say.
But for now, if you want to get a copy of that book, you would have to get in touch with Sensei Tracy. So in order to do that, you got to holler out to me, and we've already told you how. And with that, I think we're just about at the end of the beginning of Elements.
Wah, wah, wah.
I loved it.
We dipped our toe in the water.
Us.
See what I did there?
I see. I think we did. And it was great.
Oh, yeah, fun. Although I love it when we have a guest. It was fun us hanging out.
Yes, it was.
Us.
All right, guys, it's time to say goodbyes. Wait, shall we do it all at once?
Let's do that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, here we go.
Good.
Goodbye.
See you next week. Probably you all never thought much about the fact that I'm actually a small business. Unlike retail, in martial arts, it really doesn't come up that often. But from one small business owner to another small business owner, I'm asking you to support Honor Athletics in Georgia.
So how would we support them, Landon?
Thanks for asking, Sensei Jackie. To order, call for personal service at 770-945-5150. You can also order all your karate needs and more online at honorathletics.com.
And don't forget, when you're checking out, make sure you give the code Wildcat Dojo to get your 10% discount. So thanks so much for supporting us. We really appreciate it, Honor Athletics.
And everybody in the audience, thanks for going out and checking them out. We appreciate that as well.
Thanks for being here. Hope you join us again on Wildcat Dojo Conversations.